Set it on, fast in the melon. If I ever lose, set it on, bigger and better. Even roller coaster come bigger, bolder, faster. I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum. I'm going to the maximum.
How is the whole Web3 ecosystem and blockchain technology going to revolutionize the entertainment industry? This is the question of today's panel, and this is the issue our panelists today are going to help us navigate through. So we have some big personalities and great heads today we're lucky to have on this stage. And without further ado, I would like to make things a little bit less formal. I'm sorry, man, we're not in Hollywood, but we are in Web3. So please introduce yourself and tell us why you're here.
Awesome. David, okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. We have a nice number of people. I see a lot of smiles and a lot of, yes, let's go.
Nice.
My name is Aegon. I am a founder of Project Nightfall, and I'm here to promote Project Nightfall Philanthropy, which I very happily co-founded with my fiance, who's probably in the other room. And today I want to talk to you about how to use Web3 in order to promote transparency without the philanthropic work around the world. Nice to see all of you.
Thank you, Egon. Wonderful.
What's up, everybody? My name is David Uslin, and thank you. And it's an honor to be sharing this stage with,
Same,
with
my
these
friend.
gentlemen. My family is a super geeky family, if you know what that means. And we're a lover of all things comic books and movies and TV, and we have the honor of producing all of the Batman movies and Lego movies and National Treasure movies and Constantine and a whole bunch of others. But the reason that I'm here is, my belief is that some of the next great franchises, some of the next great brands are going to originate from this amazing medium that we're all here talking about. And it's my job to find those amazing, great pieces of IP and give them a good shot at becoming, the next great franchise.
All right. Thank you, David. Awesome. So I see two things. I see one thing here. Traditional entertainment and the new wave, right? Online, social media, getting directly into the house, into the devices of people. This is my take on what's the main difference between traditional entertainment and the new wave. But what do you think is going to change drastically between the two different ecosystems, and how you can utilize that to your benefit?
Thank you. First of all, I want to manifest something with all of you, because truth is that by being here and wanting to learn about this space, you are in a very lucky group of people. It's kind of like, I believe that Web3 is what crypto was in 2011. It's like, not many people understood it, but those who could truly utilize it and get on early became really successful in that field. So I want to manifest that you guys are going to be very successful, all of you, by learning and having open minds. For me, I believe that there is already a very clear bridge that connects both of our worlds. It is undeniable that the Hollywood, the world of movies and big celebrities have a very strong prestige that social media doesn't have, while social media has a little bit more of this real connection between people. And so you can see it in movies, like big actors are becoming TikTokers, right? They're making videos promoting their movies, which sometimes a small video can promote a movie better than the actual trailer if it goes viral, right? So for me, I believe it's already happening. It's not it's not when it's gonna happen, it's already happening, and both of the worlds bring different things to the table.
I'll tell you, let me tell you an interesting story that was, I think, the first eye-opening experience for me that we're already there. And there's some partners that are out there that were with me to experience this. But about a year ago, I think it's about a year ago now, we put on the first Web3 panel ever at a Comic-Con. and we did it at San Diego Comic-Con, which is a very famous event, not only in the U.S. but around the world.
I love Comic-Con.
Okay, so we bring, you know, big movies there, and it's a big pop culture event, right? So we put on the first Web3 panel at any Comic-Con ever, and this was coming right out of COVID. And, you know, that year, so I think this might have been about a year and a half ago now, that Comic-Con was not the best attended Comic-Con. You know, people were still scared of COVID, but it still had good attendance. And our panel, and again, they had big movies and TV shows there. Our panel was the most well-attended panel at Comic-Con that year. And when a couple of us showed up that morning, you know, 30 minutes before the panel, and saw the line stretching down the hall, around the corner, you know, only, not even standing room was available. When I was in there, it was the first time where I was like, you know, this is more well attended than the biggest TV shows and some of the biggest films and some of the biggest celebrities that are here. People have been waiting in this line for literally hours. At that moment, I knew that we were already there. And it was an eye-opening moment for me, because I knew that the time that I was about ready to commit to this medium and to doing what my company does in the Web3 space, it was that moment where I knew that we were on the right track.
Wonderful. So you mentioned it before, like content creation. We call it content creation on social media. Makes everything feel a little bit more personal, when instead, in traditional entertainment, it feels like they are far away from us, right? Us, the fans. Let's bring it to the people 1 second. They're so far away from us, these actors, these big productions. How do you think the content and the delivery of the content is gonna change in the Web3 space, and how is going to be the connection with the fans in the Web3 space?
I wish that we all had like an hour to
more
sit
time,
here
right?
and chat, because there's a lot that goes into that question. But I will say a couple things that touch on that question. But again, there's a bunch of different answers. I was fortunate enough to be very close to the first Warner Brothers NFT drop, which was taking the Batman character and doing bat cowl drops. It was the first time, and partners of ours at a company called Palm NFT were in charge of that. And it was the first time that any DC, any Warner Brothers property was ever repurposed, utilized for a Web3 related opportunity. And it didn't sell millions and millions of units, right? But we're dealing with a comic book world. We're dealing with a world where people are used to selling thousands, tens of thousands of copies of something, not many, right? The comic book business has been a loss leader despite, you know, the popularity of the movies. When that first bat cowl drop happened and Warner Brothers saw how many units were purchased as quickly as they were, how many new types of consumers came in and were buying instead of the traditional comic book fans that, you know, the demographic that they were used to, it was an extremely eye-opening situation and a case study that is and has been used to get these studios that typically are all old school, right? You know, you guys all know how hard it is to get, you know, one of these giant conglomerates to change their ways, but this was one of the first real, I think, eye-opening experiences that showed the power of the Web3 space. The one other thing, though, that I will say, too, on the flip side of that, is that, you know, I work with other Web3 companies and companies that are developing some really cool IP, but brand new stuff, right? Not like historic, obviously, content, but new stuff. And they're doing it in formats of like digital comics, maybe, and some other things like that. The number of, again, units that they're selling, the community that they're bringing in, and the power of those communities, they're as rabid as your most rabid comic book geek fan bases out there. And that is unbelievable and something that, everybody has the ability to tap into.
What is the added value that you can give to an audience, to the fans, through the blockchain technology? Because we have seen in the ecosystem, it's all about adding value. It's not about...
So I can touch on that because I feel like I represent a little different approach to this, because obviously I'm trying to build a charity organization, which is, I want to address something with you guys, kind of address the elephant in the room, okay? That noise is the noise of an elephant, okay? So I think there's a lot of preach, a lot of good things happening in our space, but in reality, right now it's a game of the chosen ones. Very often it's the people who are already educated, who have money, who got in early. It's not really a place that is genuinely inclusive. And so it's sad because this technology, what I am the most excited about it, has the ability to be very transparent, right? So we have all this world of misinformation about the metaverse. For example, a lot of people think the metaverse is owned by Mark Zuckerberg, right? I would say 95% of the public believes that metaverse is owned by Mark Zuckerberg, right? There's the scams, there's the companies that are going out and all these things, and that's problematic because in reality, I joined this space because I wanted to be inclusive for regular people. I think the only way to truly make it successful, which I believe will happen in 4 to 7 years, is the mass adaptability. Just like we have our feeds on our phone and people are using social media, I believe Metaverse, Web3 is going to become exactly that some years from now. And my passion comes from the charity perspective that when you create something on the Metaverse and use the blockchain technology, every single thing is tracked. So you cannot do any dirty business if you run a genuine nonprofit. And at the same time, I want to encourage you guys, because I believe that a lot of you are not the people who are big in the space and you know everything and you're already buying NFTs left and right. Most of you are here to learn. Please keep that thirst for knowledge, keep on educating yourself, and bring other people in for the right reasons, because we need more people who are just beginning to come and normalize this space and educate others about its true potential and the true transparency that it brings.
So just to add into that, because this is a personal note for me, it doesn't matter who you are in Hollywood, let's just say, everybody's out to screw you. And, these studios, especially from an accounting side, there is discrepancies everywhere. And I'm putting that mildly.
Obviously.
And it's something that everybody has to deal with, especially when you're talking about, obviously, participation financially and all sorts of different revenue streams. I will tell you that, this world of Web3 and blockchain, the clarity that brings, the transparency that brings is amazing. It's one of the most important things to all of this. My family has spent a half a century defending creator rights. Creators behind some of the biggest IP in the whole world are screwed in ways that your jaw would drop on the floor if you knew the horrible situation that a lot of these guys who have created some of the biggest franchises that
So
found
you think it's going to
in.
be making it more meritocratic?
It is going to be, yes, and it is for that reason, and that reason by itself is so important why all of this needs to be advanced as much as possible, incorporated into traditional media, I think as much as possible because of that clarity and transparency it brings.
Very refreshing, the idea, yeah.
More meritocratic, more democratic as well.
Yes.
Nice.
I love it.
And you touched a point which is very important. Artists. How do we protect artists? Because there are big corporations, big production houses, and artists get sucked in that. And then who made that? We don't know it. Who came out with that idea? We don't know it anymore. I think that this whole blockchain technology is going to revolutionize that.
There's great examples everywhere. I'm staring at one right now of an amazing creator who had a long, amazing studio background, who has left that world to pursue their own IP and their own dream, and because again of this technology, because of the different opportunities and companies out there that can work with a creator like that, in the long run, this is going to provide him more opportunity.
We already talked about
Way more.
collaborating.
He's talking about Anthony Francisco, who decided to leave Marvel
Rounds of applause.
and
Everybody.
work on his own
Total legend.
independently. So that's great. Let's talk about format. On the internet, on Web3, etc., Web2 especially, we have started to see in the attention span of audience just lowering and lowering and lowering.
Goldfish, as they say.
In traditional entertainment, we're talking about long feature movies, right? So how is your your format going to fit what fits most what the audience wants today?
You know what? I'll tell you something, because I recently spoke to a very famous director in Hollywood, and he really has no idea about like social media and stuff. And it's so funny that I feel like people from our different like worlds, it's almost like I wish that my videos would have the attention span of movies, and people from your world very often wish that it would take like a few days to get something out. Because that's the difference, right? It kind of makes sense. Working on movies, some movies take like 5 to 10 years to finish, right? And with our content, I mean, it's crazy to say it out loud that Project Nightfall had 10 billion views all over the world, like 10 billion. It's an insane number to even say it out loud. I know, it's insane. And when I say it out loud, it's like I cannot comprehend how big that is, but at the same time, that's the difference. 10 billion views, but no one really sits for 2 hours of my videos, right? But at the same time, it's faster. It's more like you are switched on and you don't really put all of your life into one project for so long that sometimes can be disappointing.
Are we going to lose in quality, in your opinion?
Again, you're talking about things I wish we could sit here and talk for hours about.
Yes.
Because you're.
We have 5 minutes. It says there.
Because you're talking about issues and honestly problems that I run up against and try to figure out on a daily basis. Like as an example, because with some of these Web3, projects, communities, the speed that things are moving, right? The speed that the community needs to see growth and change, right? That is moving quicker than any other area of entertainment and media in the world. And if there's any lag, we all know the negativity that could come with delays, right? So in traditional media, you have publishing and gaming and all these different areas that take time to produce content. It takes time to make a graphic novel. It takes time to write a novel. It takes time to create a mobile game, right? And in that time, there's a big gap, right? So like if you have a hot Web3 project right now, most people aren't going to want to wait a year or 2 years to see other traditional product hit the market. And this is why, with the stuff that we're doing and that I'm working on, the only way that I see to combat that, honestly, is the personal relationships that we have, where we literally can light a fire under the butts and be like, you can't take the Hollywood typical time frame to turn out this content or to publish this book. This thing needs to be figured out in a much more expedited way.
I love it. That's where our worlds are connecting more.
Yeah.
That aspect.
By the way,
is
that also
bringing
feeds into like places
Yes.
where we're at now. Like in Asia, obviously, one of the big crazes that spread across the world is the medium of webtoons. And webtoons are content that are coming out on a much more regular basis. And anyway, there's so much there, but that is a big problem that all of us are trying to figure out how to get around.
There is one last thing that you want to deliver to people here in the room. from each one of you, what would be? Make it quick. Go for it.
Just, I always will preach one thing. Please get into this space, this incredibly powerful and future big space with the right intentions. Coming for money itself, cool stuff, but really think, how can you like bring value to the space that right now is not having the best name, and educate yourself from small baby steps to learn how incredible of a potential it has for the future. And as I said, I manifested on the beginning, a lot of people from here will contribute to the future of this space. I want to believe it because we're so early on. Thank you for coming.
It's all about collaborating here, guys. It's all about collaborating. Do you have any last word for us?
Keep coming back. Make sure you stay involved. Make sure you do what you need to do to stay in the middle of where all of this is going. And I guarantee you, when we're all here together next year, it's
for 1 hour.
If for 1 hour, it's going to be that much bigger. There's going to be that many more exciting things that we're all going to be able to talk about, and we're going to be able to have a lot, I think, of examples proving what all of us sat here and talked about today.
Nice.
Let's go. Thank
That's
you
a promise.
so much, everyone.
I
Thank
heard
you.
a promise here.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you, David. Well done.